All right, back here with another Orioles update. It's opening day 2029. My last videos were the World Series, so I'll kind of recap the offseason real quick, give a season preview. Just to start, a few of the big free agent moves. Oop, I thought I had them pulled up. I'm on the wrong page, though. Give me just a second here. I need to get back to December 2028. All right, here we are. So the big news was the first two big shoes to drop here, cards to fall. That's not an expression, is it? The Yankees signed like the two biggest pitchers on the free agent market, who are both also former Orioles. They signed Jack Flaherty to a 4-year, $148 million contract at the age of 33. I mean, he was dominant in 3 years in Boston. So, 33 is risky, but 4 years, $37 million. And then they went out and they signed German Marquez to a 5-year, $133 million deal. He's also 34. And he ran into some issues with injuries in San Francisco. As you can see, the 4 years there, he started 18 games, 12 games, and he was good when he pitched. But then the last year was primarily healthy and put up 5 WAR. So I don't know. Those are some hefty investments that'll work out great if those guys stay healthy. But I don't know, man. But they're the Yankees, so they can afford to do it. And then Mookie Betts signed a 3-year deal with the Cubs for $66 million. He's coming off that huge contract at the Nats, and he's trailed off a bit the last several years. Well, he's hurt there, 1.4 WAR, but just under 4 WAR, and then an injured season, then a huge 5.7 WAR season. And last year he's hurt some and put up just under 2 WAR. So he's old. He's not as good, but he's still a solid player when he's healthy. And so they're paying him. So that's a vesting option. He needs 135 games in the second season for the third year to vest. So if he's playing 135 games per year, he's probably worth that $22 million. But man, that's a lot of money. And Walker Buehler is 34 and coming off a big shoulder injury. Oh no, actually he injured his shoulder in spring training, but he's coming off an arm injury from last year too. He only pitched 2 games for the Dodgers last year, put up 0.5 WAR. But as you can see, the season before, 6 WAR, 4.6, 4.4. So if he's healthy, he's also been awesome. So that was another big deal that happened. There were a couple others here that I wanted to catch. The Blue Jays top pitcher went to the Angels, Brandon Eisert, and the Nationals signed a pitcher, which they need badly. Gosh, they've been bad. Even with Soto and Betts, they were bad. And there were a couple. Jared Kelenic, the center fielder for the Mariners, star center fielder, went to the Rockies. That was a big contract, 7 years, $152 million. And then here's the big one. Leaving Baltimore, Cole Tucker, 4 years, $119.2 million deal to the Mariners at 32 years. I mean, he was awesome in his 2 years for me. He put up 6.5 and 6.9 WAR. But he's 32, and he just wouldn't go for anything under 4 years. I actually offered him a 1-year deal at $42.5 million because I had the budget room this year because my owner increased my budget by a good amount, like 15 or 20 million. And he wouldn't go for it. He would not do anything under 4 years. And I've got one of the top prospects in baseball at second base who's almost ready. And I don't know. I mean, I just didn't feel like locking into him. He's going to be 33 in like a couple months. So Tucker's gone. And then the Twins made a few big signings too. Let me just find them real quick. Maybe I passed them. The Twins signed... Probably, dude, it's right there in front of you if you're watching, and I'm missing it. So, yeah, the Twins made a couple of big signings. They signed Mackenzie Gore away from the Padres, which was a pretty big deal. And they made another. Oh, here they are. Mackenzie Gore, 6 years, $158.4 million. He's still only 30 years old. So, and then Nick Senzel, at 33, a 5-year, $64 million contract. I thought about going after him for third base, but he wanted 4 or 5 years. Not going to do it. So that's most of the offseason. I made a couple minor signings. I made some trades just of like fringe 40-man guys who are out of minor league options, like Drew Bowser, who's been with my team really since the beginning. It was a 2020 draft pick, and he's been a utility guy for me. He was out of minor league options, so I traded him for some minor leaguers, just a few trades like that. Preseason predictions, not looking great for the O's. Only 83 wins predicted to lose the East by 8 games to the Yankees. 851 runs would be the best offense in the AL by far. And I mean, it'd be the best offense in baseball by 20 some runs over the Diamondbacks. Only like 4 teams are over 800 runs. I'm 851. For some reason, they don't like my pitching at all. 777 runs against predicted, which would be, there are 1, 2, 3. That would be 4th worst in the AL with a 4.42 ERA. I don't know why. Now, if you go down here to the top pitchers, normally I have Patino, Lacy, and Delgado here. At least normally 2 of the 3 are in this, and none of them are there. So I don't know what's going on. Last year, with basically the same pitching staff, I was predicted to have the best staff in baseball, and I ended up having a really good one. I mean, my ERA in the AL was, I think, top 3. So I don't really know what's going on there. I don't know, man. Sometimes these predictions/projections seem a little wacky, and I can't really figure out what the deal is with that. I think my team, by pitching, has proven to be much better than that, unless they all of a sudden fall off a cliff. So the Yankees also have 2 hitters here, Devers and Torres. They're going to be a lot to contend with, man. They're a good team. I've got Bob Maldonado and Dylan Carlson here. Maldonado, not quite the slugging percentage projected last year, but 607 is still pretty darn good. Vlad Jr. just signed a huge extension. He's 30 years old in the last year of an 8-year deal, and he just signed a 7-year, $37 million per year deal with an opt-out after 3 years, so that's a pretty big deal. And the Blue Jays are expected to be pretty good, so the AL East is pretty tight. There's no terrible team like Cleveland here with 64 wins. So Tigers expected to win that division again. The Mariners are not expected to win the West, despite bringing in Cole Tucker. Then we got the Braves looking good. The Cubs and Pirates both looking strong. And then the NL West looking tight with the Giants predicted to come out on top. So now to get to my team, pretty similar here. In Campusano's the catcher again. Last year of his deal, we'll see what happens. Mountcastle, last year of his deal, he's got a team option year coming up that I don't think there's any way I'm going to pick up unless he has a great year. And then, so second base and third base is going to be similar to last year, how third base was, in that I've got Wallen, Soto, and Vukovic will all split time. Vukovic will also get time at first base. And I'll probably make a move here at, if it's getting close to the deadline like I did last year and bring in somebody. I've also got a prospect or 2 who could come up at some point. But Henry Wallen, Miguel Soto, Vukovic, all guys who have just crushed AAA and have not taken the next step yet. This is really their last chance here. I mean, I gave each of them a shot last year. They were not a full shot. We'll see what they can do last year. Soto did have success for me in the majors in 2027. And then Gunnar Henderson here. I did sign him to an extension, a 3-year, $43 million deal. He was entering his last year of arbitration. So he's around for 3 more seasons at least. He's 27, so, take that. Dylan Carlson is here. Jordan Williams is back in center. Weinberger, Maldonado, that's all the same. And then, I already told you about Soto, Vukovic, and Wallen are like the second base, third base / backup infielder. And then in outfield, we got some new blood coming in. So Josh Kramer is 23 years old. He was my 4th-round pick in 2023. And as you can see here, by these OPS pluses, he hasn't spent like a full season at too many levels, but his OPS plus, really, really good. A 118 OPS plus, and that counts a couple terrible seasons here early on. 160, 126, 142. Been a very good hitter. He will get a chance to play. My offense is pretty stacked, so he's not going to get a ton of playing time, but he'll get a shot to prove himself. And then Vittori Grady. That's what we're going with. I don't know. And so he is a guy who was a scouting discovery in 2021 when he was, 16 years old. And as you can see, all he's done is crush the ball at Frederick, Bowie, Norfolk. He's a good outfielder at all 3 positions, so he's going to get a shot here. He's a lefty and really struggles against lefties, so I'm not sure that he's going to be an everyday player based off of that, but he's going to get a shot. Grady and Kramer will both get some time in center behind Williams. And Kramer, I'll give some at-bats to in the corners, but with Carlson and Weinberger, it's going to be tough to give them at-bats. So Reese Albert is not here. He's starting the year on the IL, so that gives Kramer and Grady a chance to try to prove themselves. Pitching is looking pretty similar to last year. Patino, Lacy, Lawson, Delgado, Perkins. I think that's the same rotation I opened last year with. So Feltman is back. I did sign Jose Alvarado, who is a lefty back end of the bullpen arm with very good movement and extreme ground ball, which is good for us in Baltimore. And, he's been a solid reliever, ERA, pretty good ERA, FIP, striking out over 9 guys per 9. So he'll be in the back end of my bullpen. Connor Jones is also not here. He's injured as well. And let me just show you those injuries. I had a few injuries of all guys who are probably going to make the team. So Connor Jones out, going to miss the first 3 weeks. Reese Albert, my backup outfielder, going to miss 4 weeks. Ronan Kopp, who probably would have been my long guy, is going to miss the first 2 weeks. So then, Corrigan, Little, Stone, all those guys have been around. They've been solid bullpen pieces for me the last several years. Duran is a righty with decent movement that I don't know why he's listed as a starter here. Let's go ahead and come on. There we go. So he's a guy I signed to a minor league deal with an option for $1 million if he gets promoted to the majors. So he didn't go up a run in spring training, and with the injuries, he's on the roster. We'll see if he lasts all season. And then Gil Brents is a 5th-round pick from 2025 who has just slowly worked his way up my system, and he's got great stuff. He's got an amazing cutter. Hopefully he can be a successful bullpen arm. And then Gage Bradley, another young guy who's been kind of up and down for me the last year or so. He's a solid AAA pitcher. I'm not sure he's better than that, but he's on the team for now. And I'll just quickly go over the rest of the 40-man. Groves is a pitching prospect who's in Bowie, probably won't be up this year. Ben Schilt is really my top pitching prospect. First-round supplemental pick from 2025. Put up 4.8 WAR last year in Norfolk, so he was great. I mean, he was awesome. And really the only reason that he's not starting the year with the team, not in the rotation, but probably as the long man, and then maybe a rotation spot next year if one opens up, is because I'm going to play the service time game. So if he spends at least a few weeks in the minors, he'll then I'll have another year of team control for him. So he'll probably come up at some point, especially if he gets off to a good start. He's ready for the majors, just kind of playing a service time game with Ben Schilt. But he's a future rotation piece, I think, for sure. And Precadio, maybe? We'll go. David Precadio is a guy, Preciado? No, Precadio, we're going with that. Is a guy who's not pitched above high A, and I traded for him in the offseason, and he was already on a 40-man, and that's why he's on the 40-man. But he's in Bowie, decent pitching prospect. You'll notice Diego Cartaya made it as my backup catcher over Joe Mack. Mack I suspended for the first 7 games because the game gave me the option to and kind of suggested I should when he went to India. Sought out a guru and then came back saying he wasn't really going to focus on baseball and it wasn't a priority in his life. That often leads to guys not being as good, which is disappointing because Mac was my backup catcher last year. He's solid, but he's going to have to prove himself in AAA. I got another catching prospect that I got in a trade, Trujillo Luis. So he's a guy who's put up really good, decent numbers in the minors, but struggled in AAA when he was there last year. We'll see how he does. What else do we have? Armendariz is a top prospect, the number 3 prospect in baseball. And really, he's a second baseman, but I'm going to have him work on first base too, so to give him a little more flexibility. He ripped it up last year in A and high A, and then also made a double A and did not do very well in 49 games. So he'll start there, but I think he might be up by the end of the year. If not, he might be my starting second baseman next year. We've got Chad Holloway, who I'm assigning to be a first baseman to possibly take over for Mountcastle next year. Just absolutely demolish the ball at every level. But as an outfielder, and I have too many outfield prospects, so he could be on the radar soon. Let's see who else we got here. Ricky Perez is these are all really decent outfield prospects. Perez, has just murdered the ball in A-ball last year, a 188 OPS plus. He's 21. He'll start the year at Bowie. Franklin Sanchez is the number 18 prospect in baseball. Dynamite glove. I got him as a free agent, international free agent in 2023. He was in high A last year, and he was fine. He didn't do great, but he's in Bowie this year, and hopefully we'll step it up a bit. Mike Gerber is like a guy who's mashed in the minors, and I'm not sure that he's a major league starter, but he's good depth. Grady, where you talk about. Mike Angeletta is an interesting piece. So he might have made my team as an infielder at second base or third, but I want him to work on his center field because he could be a great center fielder as well. He was in Bowie last year and put up 2.5 WAR. He's my first-round pick from 2023. And this is his second option year, so he's got one more option year. I think once I get his center field rating up a couple months into the season, he will factor into the major league roster. So I think that's it. And just real quick, I'm gonna do a more in-depth piece on my farm system in a minute because that'll probably be my next post. I'm gonna record it now and then post it at some point. Some people have asked for more details on my farm system. It is number one in baseball, so I'm gonna go over prospects. I know I just gave you some of the big ones there that are on my 40-man, but I'll go over my prospects in a bit more detail with my next post. But right now, I've got the first overall farm system predicted for 83 wins. I think I'm gonna outdo that, man. If my pitching's as bad as they say, I'll really be. I don't know what the right word is. Pissed. But anyways, so I'm not gonna do opening day live this year, but I'll be back with an O's update at some point soon. All right.